Now we get to the floor tiling, and first of all what we've got to do is we've got to square the edge of the bath down to receive a piece of Wedi tile backer, which is another product we're going to teach you about. So square these edges of the bath to the floor. Put a mark on the floor, perfectly level on the bubble, one that end of the bath, one the other. Get square onto that bubble. Always make sure you've got an even space at the side of the bubble to the line, and check that those two distances are even. There's quite a lot of difference if you just touch a line and you've got a bit of bubble space to the other side of the other line. You want it even space either side of your bubble to the lines. We've got these two projections. I haven't got a straight edge long enough, so I'm going to use an edge of a tile and the edge of a spirit level to create a longer straight edge, and I'm going to join these marks up. Make sure there's no light there between those two. Levels on one mark, tiles on the other. I've made a sliding straight edge. So now to the bond of the floor and where we're going to start. That's going to be the face of the tiles. Now, the step bond of the wall tiling, that's what it'd be, the offcut, and it's a quarter would be there. And if the floor tiling were to continue to it and match to it, it wouldn't be there, it would be there offset. So it would be right to start, in this case, with a 300 or half tile from the wall here. 300mm cut there, or if you like, a half tile. So just to show you again this progressing bond and why it's right for this 300, I'm going to put the other whole tile in. There's the folded tile around the wall, there's the next whole tile. So your floor tile, as if you'd folded the bath panel from the floor, is correct from there. And then 300, whole tile, cut. Now we're going to cut that floor batten. Use your stud hawk, it's quicker than squaring a line. For those of you that can't cut straight, now you can. We'll put that batten in, set it back from our pencil line, check at both ends, make sure everything's spot on. Top and bottom. Now we can screw it up. This is the other point about skimming the elements thinly so that you can see through them, so that we knew we were going to have to put these screws into the plywood to hold this batten down. So we had to know where our elements were exactly. So that's why you give this thin skim. So don't forget that. Before you start putting adhesive on the floor, we get to our floor tiling. We want to cut the first couple of rows, which is what I've done here, and I've put spaces in to check that everything's perfectly right before I mix the rapid adhesive, which goes off quickly, as it says on the tin, and we haven't got long to work with it, so we wouldn't want to be cutting. We want all our cuts ready to go in one area, because this will take about a bucket, and by the time I've done these 2 rows, I'll have to mix the next bucket anyway. On this occasion, what I've noticed is that column for the boxing in for the soil stack that you can see behind me, it's a bit close. So I'm going to cut this next row and I'm going to test it for any adjustment I might have to make coming away from the bath panel. And in this case, I need it to come away slightly. I start every row a touch that way so that I don't get a huge grout gap. Again, put a few blobs of adhesive on the floor ready to trowel up, but do not let that trowel hit the floor. Do not damage those elements. Same thing when troweling up. Do not cut through, very slow. Just listen for a tiny scratch, gentle scratch. And that's the coat of adhesive you should be touching and not damaging the elements. We can see them, that's why we skinned them thinly. Don't try to make up any level differences in the floor with your underfloor heating element layer. Leave it to the adhesive layer with the tiling. spread it out nicely. Now when you come to troweling up, a little tip for you. As you can see, I'm just going to use 2-finger pressure, and I'm going to let the weight of the trowel and the fluidity and the angle comb it up nice and flat, and you'll get the feel of what flat is by doing this nice and gently until you feel the same action all the way through it. That should about do it. Now we're ready to fix our tiles. And we'll start with that 300 cut in the corner. You're probably wondering how we spin tiles like this as tilers. Well, this is how we do it. Just spread your fingers wide apart like so on the back, turn it over, and just keep the pressure of holding it in your hand. Check which edge is going to the wall. Next tile's going to be a whole tile. We want 3 manufactured edges coming to it, so the cut is to the wall, never the other way. Make that tiny adjustment away from that bath panel. The weddy will take up that distance anyway. And I'm not going to start bashing these down for now and levelling. I'm going to leave it until I put the first 3 down gently, and then I'm going to start pressing as a row so that I can get a level across 3 tiles with this tamping action by pushing down with a bit of weight and a bit of a jiggle. Squeeze them into level. Sometimes some tiles take more pressure. Remember that slicing action we used on the wall? Well, I'm using it again on the floor. Wipe it out the grout joint into the bucket. Check for level. Well, I can feel the level rocking, so a bit more weight, a bit of a jiggle. More adhesive will come out the grout joints. Let's have a sponge up before we space. Put 2 in between every edge. In the case of a stepped progressing bond or step joint, you'll need 3. They don't make T-shaped spaces, as far as I know. Keeping that line, that rear line to the bath panel. Check diagonally. The unevenness in the floor means that it's quite thin there, but here we had to make up a bit. Use your mallet, just like the wall tiling techniques we showed you earlier, and check for level. Get your eye right down, look right under the level, and check it in all directions. Now we come to the underfloor heating thermostat, and just paste around it, put a blob over it, put the tile straight over it, push it in with the finger, bit of friction, hold it there, put your tile down. Then we need a clean up. Now we've tiled our floor, because tomorrow this rapid adhesive is going to be even harder than after a couple of hours, or 4 hours, however long it takes you to lay your floor. When you're sponging up, 1 wipe each face and take the sponge off the face. Don't go back across the wipe. And it comes up beautifully clean. Floor tile, beautifully level.
The amazing new Studhawk Saw Guide set. There are 2 Studhawks in the pack. The Studhawk 90 makes cutting square simple, and those difficult miters, the Studhawk 45 makes them a piece of cake. The Studhawk helps keep your fingers safe and save time squaring a line. Get your Studhawk Saw Guide set today